Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here. Internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time. We are back with the weekly track roundup, where I go over what I felt were the worst and the best tracks of the week. It's been a while. Our first weekly track roundup of 2020. Okay, 2020. We have quite a few tracks to get to because I'm covering some tracks that dropped last week as well, just to put out an opinion on them. Of course, down in the description, you will find links to those songs along with our Turntable Lab link. Get some vinyl over there. We get kickback from it. Supports the segment, supports the channel. Our Patreon page gets some bonus monthly content when you sign up for a tier over there. And then finally, shout out to our sponsor in this video, the good people over at The Ridge. Yes, they're still with us in 2020. These nifty, metal, plated, minimalist wallets changed my fucking life, bro. Now my wallet fits nicely in my front pocket. Got rid of that disgusting old leather wallet. I did actually have a leather wallet because the wallet, I had it since I was a little boy and my grandma got it for me. And I don't know, it just like didn't really fall apart. You know, it was like the one thing left from my old pre-vegan life. And there are many things that vegans typically hold on to, you know, that weren't necessarily vegan before they went vegan. And that was really kind of the last part of my life that was, you know, hanging on from that era. I've already shared way too much with you. So let's go on to the worst tracks of the week. Let's get into the worst tracks of the week. But anyway, the Ridge link is down there below. Promo code MELON, 10% off. Ba-bam! Worst tracks of the week. We've got a couple. Some of which you will know because I've talked about them on the Fantano channel. Some of which you will be unhappy with. But let's go first. The new King Cruel track. I am not into it. I cannot say that I am into it. The title of this one, Don't Let the Dragon Drag On, and yet that's exactly what this track does. It drags on, despite not really being all that long. I mean, I do like that Archie is trying to instill some sort of mood into this track, but just how sparse and impressionistic the vocals and the guitars are, it's just very tedious and doesn't really go much of anywhere for me. Much like everything else that was on the Ooze, but hey, who am I to say, because there are hardcore King Cruel fans out there who fucking love the Ooze, and that's like their least favorite review of mine. So if you hated my review of that, you most likely hate my take on this. If you liked that record, you will most likely like this. Moving on from there, the new Justin Bieber single is trash. Really no way to cut it. Generic trap beat, underwhelming vocal performance, super underwritten and boring and mind-numbing hook. We don't need it. And we have Green Day with another song they're teasing toward their new record with. Oh Yeah is the title of this one, and it is hideous just like every other teaser we have heard so far. This one a bit poppier, I guess, than everything they've teased up until this point, but I just don't really get what the band is trying to do on this new record other than alienate all of their fans. I just don't know. Moving on from there, Drake and Future together on the track Life is Good, and it sucks. It's basically like two half songs from Future and Drake, just kind of pulled together into one non-song, and the production is pretty weak too. I just don't really get the point of it. And then we have Drake with War. Who let Drake rap like he's from the UK? Who let him do that? For years, this man has been whitewashing dance hall and rapping about tings and all that shit. And now the dude is like, man this, man that, man the other thing. And he's like, I don't know, like try to be a super mellow, soft, lotiony, smooth drill rapper. Please, what the fuck? Like, why are we allowing this to happen? He can't keep getting away with it. Song is super mediocre, not much in terms of like a strong chorus or anything. Beat is okay, comes in and comes out in a flash, doesn't really leave much of an impression. And I mean, the only thing that's memorable, the only thing that is memorable about it is just how silly Drake sounds trying to adopt like a little bit of an inflection and all of this lingo that all of these UK drill and grime rappers have been kind of delivering for years and years and years. Drake just sounds stupid doing it. I do not get it. And then we have Best Coast, who is back with a new single, Everything Has Changed. And while I do appreciate how in concept this song is a bit of, I guess, a very meta and emotional retrospective on maybe a lot of the negative emotions that were felt when Best Coast was at its peak of relevancy and controversy, and maybe the pressures that were going on from the fans, from the music industry, from haters, so on and so forth, all seem to get addressed in a very vague but obvious way on this track. And it's okay. I mean, I guess if you're really invested in the Best Coast narrative, but who is? I mean, most people just listen to Best Coast for breezy, cool, beachy rock music. Not that there hasn't been any personal Best Coast music up until this point, but this just kind of seems like, I don't know, sort of beyond what Best Coast typically does. And not that Best Coast couldn't come through with a really cool introspective track, but the tone of the song doesn't really fit that either. It just sounds like a generic indie rock instrumental with just like, you know, horns in the air and some windmills on the guitar chords. I just don't get it. It's kind of like the Beverly Hills being the very terrible Weezer single. It's like the Beverly Hills of Best Coast. I don't really get it. Let's move on to the tracks that I thought were meh. Not terrible, not blowing me away, but certainly worth mentioning, worth pointing out, starting with Wasted Shirt, which I guess is a new project that is being spearheaded by Ty Segall and Brian Chippendale of Lightning Bolt fame. Double the Dream is the name of this track, and it's a pretty cool, hectic, noisy, lo-fi punk rager. Dig it quite a bit, though there were some aspects of the vocals and the songwriting I think could have been more distinct, kind of get lost in the haze and everything, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It'll blast your brains out. Then we have the Men, who are kind of going back to the 80s a little bit on this new wave-ish cut, Children All Over the World, which should be no surprise considering the Men are such an interesting band in terms of all of the different musical styles they've adopted over the course of their career. We have Soccer Mommy, a musical project that I haven't been really crazy about up until this point, but this kind of soft 90s-ish moody rocker over here, Circle the Drain, I thought was pretty decent, had some solid vocal melodies on it. We also have Morrissey with this new cut over here. Morrissey, post quite a bit of controversy in 2019, is still dropping music, and this one isn't bad. He comes through kind of sounding like classic Morrissey a little bit, kind of going back to his roots in the 80s, and it just sounds like an aesthetic and sounds like a groove that his voice works over very well. I'm not super crazy about it, but I don't hate it either, and I think his vocals are kind of dramatic on it. Bobby, Don't You Think They Know is the title of it. We have also Jenny Lewis. We have, with Jenny Lewis, Habib Kwate, and we have Artists for Peace and Justice teaming up on this new big collaborative cut that is partially quaint indie folky country, and then there are I suppose some Afrobeat influences, not Afrobeats, but Afrobeat influences that are worked in more toward the back end of the track. I can't explain how uniquely these different musical styles come together on this track, and there are different portions of the song that are influenced more, you know, by the indie side than there are others, which is kind of interesting. I'm not super crazy with you know, how it came together, because it does sound a little awkward at points, but hey, I mean, I would give it an A++++ for effort. Under the Supermoon is the title of it, and the refrain, the Under the Supermoon refrain, is actually pretty sweet. Moving on from there, Holy Fuck, Holy Fuck, Holy Fuck are back with Deleters. This track, featuring Angus Andrew of Liars fame, is pretty groovy, a little trippy. I wish the vocals were a bit less washed out and everything, but it's still got a good beat to it. Not the best music from this band I've ever heard, but it's certainly more lively than some of the other stuff they've put out in kind of preparation for this new album release in 2020. We also have Destroyer, aka Dan Behar, with a brand new track, Q Synthesizer, which is a very verbose, spoken word-ish, meta musical mood piece that it does get kind of tedious, frankly. I mean, I am still looking forward to this new Have We Met Destroyer record, but it's not tracks like this that are really getting me excited. We also have BTS with Map of the Soul 7, or rather a track from it, this Black Swan track. And I suppose it's okay. I think it's actually one of BTS's least distinct songs in quite a while. I mean, there were even some pretty hard-hitting songs like Boy With Love off of the last Map of the Soul. And from what I understand, like the music video for this track is like a really cool art piece, and for sure that is going to launch this song to incredible new heights. But listening to the song and observing just the song, it seems like a very boring combination of American trap music with some slightly melodic vocals, some rap verses here and there, but it all comes together in a very structured, deficient blob where, yes, of course, I do hear each member's distinct voice and everything, but there's not a whole lot of highs and lows to the way this track is built to my ears. It just kind of seems like the unique fusion of genres that usually comes to the table in a BTS song, and the best K-pop music out there isn't really here on this track, whereas this song seems a lot more one-dimensional than a lot of what was on their last couple of records, and again, the recent Map of Soul project too. We also have Black MIDI starting a bit of a beef with Ed Sheeran over here on their new track Dead Sheeran, which is like a weird experimental post-glitch beat tune combined with some very raw Ed Sheeran insults on the back end as we shift over numerous different, I guess, beat switches and everything. It's pretty insane. Not the best constructed track that Black MIDI has ever done, and I doubt they take it all that seriously, but still, it's worth checking out, especially if you want to hear somebody insult Ed Sheeran so in such a mean way on a musical recording. We also have the Black Lips with their brand new track over here from their forthcoming country record, In a World That's Falling Apart, which I'm pretty excited for. I mean, country music has always played a bit of an influence on the Lips music, but to hear them going full country on a full record could be pretty cool. Rumbler, this new song over here, I thought was all right. Not the best song I think they've written, but still it does have that somewhat rough and wild, genuine country feel. I guess kind of a punky garage-ish country feel, which you kind of expect the Black Lips to bring that vibe to any song or any tune that they do, no matter what the style is. So it's here in spades. All right, we also have St. Vincent doing a bit of a Beck remix over here. Uneventful Days, in my opinion, one of the most boring tracks from Beck's new album. Again, being St. Vincent remixed. And I will tell you that the beat on this version is a lot more lively. I'm liking the instrumental a lot more. I'm not going to say it saves the song or anything, but if you are a St. Vincent fan or if you are a Beck fan who would like to hear this track improved, give it a shot. Give it a listen. And we also have Algiers over here, which, in my opinion, this track they have released, and even in comparison with the incredibly experimental cut they dropped toward the end of 2019, this track, We Can't Be Found, I think is maybe the weakest teaser of this new album cycle so far. I think that there's a lot of tension building on the verses that doesn't necessarily get all that much release on the hooks, which I think just don't really hit all that hard. But hey, the band's post-punky take to revolutionary rock and soul music is still here on this track. And if you didn't really dig that kind of wild out there piece they dropped last year, maybe this will be more to your liking. And 070 Shake, Kanye collaborator, who you guys might remember from his Ye record. Guilty Conscience is the name of her brand new single. And it's not bad. It's got a solid hook and a pretty straightforward theme of, just lashing out at the fact that you were cheated on, I suppose, and kind of catching that other person in the act. I think the vocals are all right. I think the instrumental is so-so. I mean, while I think the tune at the core of it is solid, and I think that the messaging is pretty clear and certainly compelling. I wanted to hear more about the story and everything going on in the track as I was reading into it, but I think the presentation could really use some work. I mean, Shake, from what I gathered from her work with Kanye, sounds like a pretty unique singer. She's got a strange tone of voice, and I feel like that characteristic of her work wasn't really embraced on this track in any sort of way. It sounded a little plain to my ears, which disappointed me. We also have 2 Chainz over here with a brand new track featuring Future. I like Chainz' very subdued, low-key flows on this one. Sounds almost 21 Savage-ish in some respects. So I'm not trying to say that, 2 Chainz is like a 21 Savage copy, or if anything, Savage is into 2 Chainz. But still, having said that, it's not bad. Not like the best track he's ever done. And the Future feature is pretty standard, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's get into the tracks that I thought were the best this week, the ones that hit the hardest, the ones that left the biggest impression. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. First, we have U.S. Girls. In a Poem Unlimited, I listed in my best albums of the decade list because it is that good of an album, and this new song over here, Over Time, is great as well. I like how peppy and upbeat it is. I haven't read all the way into the lyrics yet, but given that it is a U.S. Girls track, they are as thoughtful as the instrumental linked to this track too. We also have Tricot, a Japanese math rock band, sounding as tight and as melodic and as intricate as ever on their brand new track over here, Pitch Black, which I thought was pretty sweet. We also have Thundercat with Steve Lacy and Steve Arrington on here, funking it up with some great bass licks and a solid groove as well. Like this one quite a bit, and looking forward to hearing more from Thundercat in 2020, hopefully. We also have Tame Impala, Lost in Yesterday. Talked this track up over on the Fantano channel. I am liking how groovy and how lyrically dense all of these new Tame Impala tracks are turning out. I'm liking it. We also have Squarepusher with a brand new cut over here. I hope I am pronouncing this correctly. Maybe not, but Nervelevers. This is easily one of the, glitchiest and, I don't want to say glitchiest, most bustling and fun tracks I have heard Tom put out in a while. So pretty excited to hear what he's going to be doing on this record, this new one. So hell yeah, Squarepusher. We also have a new musical project over here featuring a crossover of The Body, Lingua Ignota, and Full of Hell. Okay, you got all that? Lingua, Full, The Body, and Sightless is the name of this project. Kingscorpse is the name of the track, and it is noisy, insane. It is batshit insane. I want to hear more. It is absolutely off the wall. The haunting, freakish, clean vocals, the shots of noise, the weird sequence drums that you would typically hear, I think, maybe behind more of an electronic or a hip-hop song or something that turn up on this track. It's a very odd combination of everything, but I'm here for these guys just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. We also have a brand new track. Oh, this track is stunning. This new Moses Sumney song is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's stunning. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's stunning. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's titled Me in 20 Years. This dude is easily one of the most exciting new faces in art pop out there. Keep listening. Keep paying attention. Birds of Prey, the album. The song is Diamonds from Megan Thee Stallion and Normani. Usually these kind of movie tie-in songs and, promotional music and shit like that just sucks and is really bad. But this is one of those rare occasions where the track actually goes, it bangs, awesome vibe, awesome energy. The chemistry between these two is great, and Megan's flows throughout the track are pretty fucking great too. So love this one. It hits hard. We have Mac Miller with his track over here, which this album is already out. This is Mac Miller's posthumous record, Circles, but I still wanted to give a bit of a miniature shout out here to the track Good News that I reviewed over on the Fantano channel, which I'm sure most, if not all of you, have already seen for reasons that I don't need to go back over in this video. But I still am looking forward to listening to this album and talking about it. But yeah, it's a great song. Fantastic track, obviously incredibly moving for anybody who has heard it or is aware of already my opinion on it. But yeah, loved it. Wanted to give it another shout out here, and we'll be reviewing this record, and giving it more listens ASAP. We have also want to give a shout out to Haru Nemuri. This new track, Fanfare, over here, kind of sees more horns and more layers of gorgeous instrumentation backing the tense and verbose approach to rock music this artist is typically known for. So digging on this one. New sound, I suppose. Will there be more like it down the pipe? I don't know, but we will be here paying attention. We also have Frances Quinlan of Hop Along fame with another teaser from her new full-length album. Give it a listen, give it a listen, give it a listen. Loving this one too. And Eminem surprising me with a track titled Darkness, which is a song that is partially about the Las Vegas shooter, partially also about just gun control in general. I thought that the storytelling was pretty good. I thought the delivery was measured and not obnoxious, which is good. I thought the hook was solid as well. I thought the Simon and Garfunkel interpolation was quality too. I didn't really dislike anything about this track. In fact, I liked most things about it. Can't say yet if I am loving this entire new Eminem LP in full, but you will hear my thoughts very soon. So get ready. I also want to give a shout out to Dan Deacon, who has been teasing toward this new record of his. Become a Mountain is the name of this new track, and it's minimal, it is lush, it is amazing. I'm liking that Dan is getting a little less shy about his vocal work in this as well, because that is actually quite good. I am enjoying this new direction for Dan, and this is going to be the first time I think I've enjoyed a Dan Deacon record in years if I do actually end up loving it. So I am primed. I am fucking primed for this Dan Deacon record. We have Code Orange with Underneath, a track that kind of broadcasts a new sound and direction for the band and has upset some fans. Don't exactly know why. Well, it's different. That's why. But the band seems to be embracing some elements of nu metal, industrial metal, pop rock as well, kind of mixing it all together with a lot of strange transitions and unlikely passages and change-ups. And despite all the weird switches, it comes together pretty solidly. And I like the song. I like how heavy it is. I like how savage it is. I like the more melodic bits. I like how versatile the track is and dynamic it is. Look, here's the thing. If rock music is going to stay relevant in any way whatsoever, artists got to experiment. And I think this is a pretty legitimate and interesting, approach to doing things differently and just trying to keep it fresh, just trying to keep things interesting. So again, liking it. We also have BUSSIT, this new track from Ari Lennox. They just came out with a new deluxe version of that Dreamville compilation that dropped last year. There's new material on it. This track is one of those tracks, and this song is fucking sexy as fuck. I love it. It's sweet. It's sensual. It's raunchy too, and I'm loving it. Also enjoying this new 1975 track. Surprisingly, Me and You Together song, which is a very jangly, euphoric, pretty little pop rock tune with a kind of vintage flair. I thought that the songwriting was solid, and I don't know, I have been in a weird place lately where I'm really, really, really enjoying some of the 1975's recent stuff. Not everything, but when it does impress me, it impresses pretty nicely. So I don't know. All I can say is I'm just looking forward to this this new project they have coming down the pipe, the 1975. Sure, why not? And that is going to be it. That is the weekly track roundup, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Again, all the songs I talked about linked down below. Check them out for yourself. And I will see you guys in the next video. Anthony Fantano, weekly track roundup. Forever.